Welcome back to Work Women. I am your host, Melina Cox, and I am so excited to have you here today because this podcast might change your life. I hope it does. The concepts that I'm going to share with you in this have radically changed my life. And it's funny, I'm sitting here in my office. And those of you who have never listened to me before, I am the Executive Vice President of Operations at Card Adventures. So I'm sitting here in my office. I've had 8 meetings so far today, and it is 105. The rest of the afternoon is jam-packed. And if you're only listening to this in the video version, I'm holding up a napkin like I literally wrote the notes out for this podcast on a Chipotle napkin. First of all, I love Chipotle. You heard it here first. Chipotle is not life, but it's a big part of mine. But I'm like eating in between meetings. And this was not my life 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was in a different place. I was in a very unhappy place. I was in a not fulfilled place, but I made a decision. And I want to share with you the number one mistake that every business owner makes. And every individual at any level makes this mistake. And I've had personal experience with this, not only myself, but also I work with hundreds of business owners. Some of them male, some of them female. The stories I'm going to share with you in this particular podcast are all of female stories, because that's the point here at work. Women, right? We are talking about work and how to be a total badass in the workplace, but also do that in the female. I know I have a couple of male listeners, maybe more than a couple. This equally applies to you, but I think sharing female stories and sharing female successes is part of my mission to shift the narrative, to shift the talk track around what women can create in their lives. And this starts by stopping from making the number one mistake, and the number one mistake is drum roll. And I like, instead of drum roll, maybe this is going to be the worst. I don't know if you can hear this. My rings are like making more of the noise than anything, okay? The number one mistake that you are making today is not sharing your goals with your team, not sharing your goals with the team. And I don't just mean financial and professional goals. So if you leave a team, or if you're a business owner, one of the things that you have to start shifting your mind around is goals are not for you to set and for you to accomplish. Goals are for you to establish, but they are also for you to share with every single person around you in every single conversation that you have, to the extent that you are not sharing your goals with the people that you are having conversations with every day. You are demonstrating to yourself a lack of commitment to those goals. You're not even able to take yourself seriously enough to start telling people about those things, much less really making the progress to do them. We just had an interaction today with one of my favorite female clients. I won't name names. I will keep the business anonymous. But we have this thing, it's called the 10x360 platform review. I actually have one right in front of me. For those of you who are on video, you can this badass deliverable. Look at this thing. This is what this is the product of Quarantine for Cargo Ventures, this team and myself. This is a document. It's called 10x360 platform review. At this moment in time, this deliverable is a 1300000 investment from the businesses that we work with. We will be raising that price soon as we're going through our planning process. That's one thing that we have a lot of cost that goes into it, because it is hundreds of hours of clients' time, and it's hundreds of hours, it's hundreds of hours of our team's time, and quite an investment from our client side in order to get the information that lies in this book, which is the growth strategy for your business. So it is where you want to be in 10 years and how you're actually going to get your business there through the location expansion, through the financial projections, through actual tangible next steps for what it's going to take in order to make the movement to get to your goals. But this document, let me actually count. It says in front of me, I'm going to discount a page. So the very first page it says TEDx 360 platform review, and there's an awesome photo. The second page is the table of contents. The third page is the section header. The fourth page is mission, vision, core values. I know we've talked about that in one of the first episodes talking about mission statements. I don't think I went hard on vision and core values, but boy can I. Okay, so the 5th page, we're on the 5th page, right? I know I already lost count. The 5th page of this document are the owner stated goals. Now, when we're putting this together, this thing has 250 plus pages in it. Why do you think that the very first substantive page in this book, in a $130,000 investment, is your goals, is your clearly stated, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely goals? Why do you think that we made that decision when we were putting this together? It could have been on page 20, could have been on page 60. We have the personal, professional, financial goals in the first section of this, because these goals are why you are going to take the massive action that is required to actually get the things that are listed in the rest of the book done. If we don't have clarity on your goals, we have no way of building a plan. You cannot build a plan without goals. It's impossible. It's like where would you start the first place? And the very first conversation when we're building this is the personal, professional, financial goals of the business owner. Now, we had a business owner just this morning give one of our team members some pushback on sharing her personal, professional, financial goals in this book. She did not want to disclose that she'd never share that information with her team. That's not something that's been talked about. But here's the deal. Guys, if you are not talking about this, let's get your family, forget your friends for a second, forget your acquaintances and social media. If you are not sharing your goals with the people you have hired, like you pay them money in order to help you do what? Just run an average business, just do whatever they think they should be doing. No, you hire people in order to achieve the goals of the business, and you align the people's goals with the business goals. But the business goals, as the business owner or leader, they also have to be your goals. Like, walk me through this scenario. You have the aspiration to have a $15 million net worth. Great. You write that down. That's one of your financial goals. What is required specifically of the business in order to achieve that net worth? Like, is the business going to be doing something that is creating a 2 million valuation for the business? And then where's the delta going to come to actually hit the net worth target? What are you going to be taking from the business in order to invest in to create the delta? Are you going to have a side hustle that you're going to actually make the majority of your money in? But if you're making, let's say your business is valued at 2 million, the net worth goal is 15 million. So the side hustle and the side investments are going to make up the delta of the 13 million, if that was the case. And you're like, logically thinking through these things, why would the side hustle be the side hustle? Why wouldn't this be the main thing if that's the majority of the girth of the net worth? Like, stop doing the thing. That's the $2 million thing, and do the thing that you've identified. That's going to make you the extra money, right? So this sounds, when I explain it to people, it sounds really logical. But business owners and leaders have a huge fear around sharing their goals with their team because they're personal and they're just for them. And the successful people that I've spent my time around, every single one of them has no shame, no ego, no hesitation around telling people exactly what they expect. They know what they want their life to look like. They know exactly to a T what type of vacations they want to be taking. They know what their health and fitness goals are. They know what type of schooling they want to be able to provide for their children, or if they want to give them a Christmas presents that are going to blow their minds. Like, they have clarity, and they don't apologize for those things. So the number one mistake, if you're not sharing your goals, who are you expecting to help you? That's my next question is, like, who, if you're not going to tell your colleagues or the people that work for you, you could tell your friends, or you could tell your significant other, maybe even your family, but are they going to be the ones that are actually helping you do those things? Now, if you work with a spouse, Brian and I share our goals with each other because we have clarity between the two of us of this lifestyle that we want to live, but we also work in the business together. So when I tell him what my net worth goals are, he tells me what his are, and we join those together like we have a synergy, because we know, okay, this is what we have to go build together. But if we weren't working together. And I had my goals, he had his goals. He wouldn't actually be able to help me with my goals, because it's not just the joint network that matters, at least not to me. It's also what I contribute. That's something that I value as I attain skill sets, as I learn more, as I have additional experience. My ability to create financial value should increase. And I am laser focused on that, because I'm not just adding value for the sake of adding value. I'm not just going to go to law school in order to learn how to be a lawyer without recognizing that I want some other impact. And that impact should be financial for me. So I could understand a spouse if you were as work together, but if you're just telling your friends your goals, if you are able to tell your friends your goals, and I actually find this one was harder for me than telling my team or telling my spouse. I think sharing with friends or on social media what your goals are, you can feel apologetic about it. Like, the hardest conversations I had when I made this radical change that I started this podcast talking about 2 years ago, some of the people that I told were downright discouraging. Like, I left those conversations, I just remember being so mad, and underneath the mad was like sadness, and also significant amount of insecurity, because the thing with goals are, you haven't done it before. You're not going to set a goal that you've already done and accomplished, because if you've done it before, it's you already know how you've grooved in that muscle memory, so to speak. But with a goal that's crazy and you're fearful, you're a little fearful because you've never done it before. So with those, in my personal experience, and you might have different and potentially better friends than I had at the time, but the friends were the last people, or were some of the first people that I told. And they should have been the last people. They should not have been the people that I was going to tell, because it took even more internal fortitude for me to continue to pursue the path that I was pursuing, because they were so unsupportive and ask such like critical questions, but not from the standpoint of actually trying to help me figure it out. But the point is, they can't help me figure it out because my goals were not around them. So again, if you're going to share your goals with somebody, you should be sharing them not with your mom, not with your friends, not with your significant other. If they're not able to actually impact them, you should be sharing it with the people that are around you, that can actually take